Okay guys, so welcome to vlog number 1, which is about just reflecting really on the week that I've just done on my FMP. If you guys don't already know what an FMP is, basically I'm doing a level 3 media course, and throughout the year we get a unit, right? And each unit covers a certain subject in media, of where we can either do like radio, we can do sort of short films, like experimental films, and sound production, etc. And obviously at the end of because we're coming up to the end of the year, this is the last unit, so that's why it's called Final Major Project. And this includes where we actually might get to create something that we like ourselves, and not many restrictions on what it is. But it is very hands-on because there's a lot of pre-production and research and things like that, so it's not only just going out, filming something, coming back and editing it and job done. It's a lot more sort of, because we've learnt quite a bit of theory as well over the past year, so obviously they're asking us to actually apply that to the course, which is quite cool actually. I'd like to try it out and see how it goes. But obviously with this past week, it's the first week since the FMP brief was handed to us, and so I'm just going to talk about how I've developed my ideas and how I'm going to sort of do that in the future, and what I'm going to do next week. So obviously with being handed in our FMP brief, I wasn't really too sure on what to do. I sort of wanted to do something to do with the homeless as well. That was prior to it. It was back in about January, February time, before we started FMP actually, and obviously became there were many factors that I needed to think about before going ahead with the idea, because obviously I work in a call centre, which is quite good. I enjoy it. It's quite hands-on, but it's not too bad actually. But obviously because I work in a call centre, I work evenings, so I work till quite late. And when I finish and I get the bus, I sometimes see, I walk past the homeless, etc. on the streets in Exeter. It is quite upsetting. Obviously, that's why I sort of wanted to make sort of like a video making people more aware of, obviously, it's not really, on how they've ended up being on the streets, etc. I spoke to Kerry about it. She said that I just need to think about, obviously, if I'm doing a documentary, to think about if it's going to be the day in the life of a homeless person, so just follow one person around on their journey, etc. Obviously that is one thing that I sort of like the idea of, but obviously because it was in February, it's coming quite close to a Sleep Rough challenge the YMCA do. It's sort of like a fundraiser, and obviously to give more awareness of obviously the homeless people out in Exeter, and things like that. So it's more like a challenge for obviously myself, and I thought that I could maybe sort of vlog that and sort of get some interviews in there and see what it was all about, etc. With that in mind, I did meet some sort of difficulties in thinking about, obviously, I'd need someone with me, like an adult, because obviously I'd have expensive equipment with me. I've got to think about obviously this stuff getting damaged or stolen, or many factors and things like that, and it has to be quite factual, so I probably had to contact like food banks, etc. But I felt it was maybe not for example getting outside of the boat, not getting outside the boat there. I do definitely want to get out of my comfort zone, but I sort of, as FMP got closer, I sort of deviated and didn't really want to do it anymore. But it's definitely something that I will consider in the future to do, maybe in my free time, or obviously maybe when I go into extended diploma next year, which I do really wish to do. It's maybe one project that I could focus on, and maybe get that done as well, because I'm definitely not just saying I'm not doing it. Definitely want to do it in the future, and obviously get that sorted. So then obviously when we started the FMP, we got handed the brief, and obviously because I had no other idea what to do, I started a mind map. Now obviously I made 2 mind maps because I had some sort of ideas of what genre and what sort of type of project I wanted to do. So my first mind map was something to do with obviously an adventure / thriller, maybe a horror or something. Obviously and I expanded on that which you can see on my blog. And obviously the way I expanded on that is basically one of the ideas was that to be this antagonist who obviously ends up casting spells, and he owns this hat shop, so it's to do with hats basically. But I'll expand on that a little bit later in the video. With that one mind map done, I went on to the second one, and I sort of went on to sort of making like an advert, maybe an educational advert, such as the Change for Life one, which, you know, they help with obviously being more aware of how much sugar you're having at the supermarkets, how much, like, what you're buying really, for families especially, because obviously they're buying their children all of these things, and they can be quite sugary and it's not very healthy at all. That could have been, so obviously with that in mind, I then thought about obviously food waste, which is a very big problem at the moment. Big supermarkets wasting food that's past its sell-by date but perfectly fine. Companies such as football clubs or rugby clubs, where obviously if the food's not sold, etc., they do throw it away, such as restaurants as well, which is a big one. And obviously at home as well, I mean, I do it myself sometimes where I don't eat all my dinner, and obviously, you know, some of the leftover just gets thrown in the bin. So I maybe wanted to do sort of an educational advert or maybe a documentary about that. I was sort of torn between the two really at that moment, so I spoke to Izzy, which I did my maps on a Friday. She liked both of the ideas very much, so she advised me to make a mood board for each, so I could have some sort of visual perspective on what I will be doing, and I can sort of make a decision around that. So with both of my mind maps done, I ended up doing the food waste one first. While making it, I didn't really quite enjoy it, and once I printed it off as well, it looked quite dull and boring, and I felt like I wouldn't really enjoy making it as such. But regardless of that, I still wanted to do it with making the short story one, which you can see on my blog as well. It was quite visually appealing for me. I could see that, you know, there is potential to expand on the narrative there. With that, I got really excited, and I was like, I really want to do this short film. Obviously, with that said and done, I then chose to do the short film. So this short film is about an antagonist who owns a hat store, okay? So not only does he do that, but obviously he sort of like has like witchcraft and things like that, and casts spells, and obviously he puts these spells on the hats that he sells. So obviously he talks, he's quite mysterious as well, but intelligent and quite greedy. You can tell where this is sort of coming, where it's leading up to really. So whoever just wanders into his store, they don't know it, but he's talking in riddles and rhymes, warning them of what's about to happen ahead if they were to buy these hats. And so once these characters, which are going to be the protagonists in this, I'm not only going to just focus on the antagonist, I'm basically then going to sort of before this all happens and these events start to unravel, etc. I'm going to follow the life, well, not the life, but like the story of how their routine of these characters before they purchase these hats, so I can have some sort of emotional connection between the audience and the character. When these bad events start to happen, you know, it gets the audience involved, which is one thing that I really want to do, and I'm going to see if I can pull it off. And obviously with this project I am pushing myself, which is definitely what I want to do.